Humanity is so screwed. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm going to try here with a metaphorical story, but just looking at how we are destroying the biosphere, the ecosystem. We're destroying our economies with fiat currency systems. We're destroying our food supply with GMOs, glyphosate, atrazine, mass poisoning of the soils, of the waterways, the streams, the oceans. Everywhere that rivers from populated continents empty into the oceans. Did you know there are massive dead zones there? We just kill everything. North America flushes its aggregate toilet and kills everything for miles around in the Gulf of Mexico or wherever the river's empty. Everywhere it's just death. It's the pharmaceutical runoff, it's the BPA, it's the industrial chemicals, it's the heavy metals. And then, of course, we're killing our economies with fake, fraudulent money systems. And we're polluting the crap out of our world, and we're polluting our brains with fluoride and medications and, putting mercury in the mouths of children, calling it dentistry, which is also totally insane. I mean, literally, mercury causes insanity. It's also in the flu shots that are being given to children in California. By the way, Secretary of State there said, let's give mercury to children because we ran out of the non-mercury flu shots, so just give them the mercury ones. That's okay. They won't notice. They're little lobotomized little kids anyway. What do they know? We're killing ourselves with cancer and diabetes and Alzheimer's. It's all in the food. It's all in the medicine. It's in the air. And so I've tried to come up with a little metaphor to describe this. Imagine humanity lived on a tropical island with a beautiful rainforest. That this island was our entire world, and all of humanity lived on the island. And the tropical rainforest gave us everything that we needed to survive. Out of the rainforest came an abundance of natural medicine. The mushrooms that grow in the forest, the superfruits like acai, all the herbs and roots and tree barks and everything that creates medicine, the leaves. And it also gave us all of our food. And also some construction materials. Bamboo, for example, to build our homes and live in shelter. So imagine we're living in harmony with nature on this beautiful, large tropical island. Everything's in balance. And then along comes somebody who works in both the corporate world and the government world, a kind of a corporate government fascist, megalomaniac controller type of person. And just for fun's sake, we'll call this person Rumsfeld. How's that? Rumsfeld. No, just coincidence. This I'm not talking about Donald Rumsfeld, just saying the name Rumsfeld. So Rumsfeld, let's say, starts a fire department on this tropical island where no fire department existed before. So he starts a fire department, and because he wants more power and he wants more prestige, he then hires a band of no good half-wits to run around the island setting things on fire, so that his fire department can respond to the fire and put out the fires and then say, gosh, we need more funding. So they run around and they tax everybody on the island. You got to pay more taxes for the fire protection, you see. Otherwise, your house might get set on fire, or your field might get set on fire. And so everybody pays money to Rumsfeld, the king of the fire departments, and he builds a bigger fire department system. And of course, he hires more half-wits to run around setting more fires. Now, as he's doing this, he's collecting all this money, but the fires begin to destroy the forest that provides all the medicine and the food and the shelter, the natural resources that everybody needs on the island. But no matter, the mainstream media is bought off by Rumsfeld, and they start reporting what a hero this guy is. He's the savior of humankind. He's running around putting out the fires, you see. He runs the fire department. And then, of course, they start putting in regulatory controls over the behavior of the people to say, well, you can't have a wood-burning stove. You can't have an open fire pit. You can't grill your roasted wild pig anymore in a pit like they do in Hawaii, even to this day. So they start taking over everybody and controlling your behavior even while they're taking your money, while they're the ones that are causing the problems. Rumsfeld is. He's the one causing the fires. So this goes on, and government gets bigger and more controlling. The fire department becomes the single most important authority. It gains the right to inspect and enter any building at any time, including your home. And there's a tax on everything to pay for fire protection, and the fires just keep getting worse, and the people are clueless to figure out why. Why is this happening? Because the media is telling them that, well, Rumsfeld is a hero. He's saving humanity from all the fires. So over time, more and more of the forest gets burned down. Now he has to have bigger fires, you see, because the small fires are no longer on the evening news. You got to have bigger fires to get more attention from the people in order to create more fear, to demand more taxes and more control. So the Rumsfeld Fire Department becomes the Rumsfeld Fire Empire. And he has huge teams running around the island now, setting not just small fires, but huge fires. The forest is burning down, and it becomes depleted. And as the forest becomes depleted, what happens to the population? They start running out of food and medicine and shelter, because that's what the forest provided. Now we start to have people slipping into poverty. People become homeless. People are living in starvation. So Rumsfeld, because the media said he's the hero that's saving humanity from all these fires, he says, well, I'm going to help these people. I'm going to just start giving them free food and housing subsidies. I'm going to give them medicine under a socialized medical system. All these people who are running out of food and medicine and shelter. But in order to do that, he has to get that money from someone else. So to everyone else on the island who still has a job or a business, runs a little barter shop or manufactures something, he has teams of enforcers run around the island and put guns to their heads, or bows and arrows or whatever they have, spears, I guess, and says, give us more of your money or we're going to cut your heads off. And so to enforce that, then, he creates all these laws, creates a police state on the island to confiscate all this money from the few who are still able to survive on their own, so that he can collect all that money and redistribute some of it to the impoverished masses, giving them food stamps, I guess, tropical food stamps, and giving them shelter and giving them free socialized medicine. So now he's really a hero, right? Because he cares about the poor people. He cares about the downtrodden, those who are out of their luck, even though he caused the situation, right? He was the one setting the fires. Out of greed, he was the one creating the problems. He was the one causing the starvation and the lack of medicine and the destruction of the economy and the destruction of people's homes. He was the one who caused it, but now he's the hero for providing for them. And so this continues. More and more fires continue to be set. More and more confiscation takes place from those who are still working, who have businesses. More and more handouts are given to those who are now voting for bigger and bigger Rumsfeld empire control over the island. Now, Rumsfeld becomes president of the island, actually king, right? That makes more sense. He's king. And they want more. They demand more from him, more handouts, more compassion, they call it. And so in order to do this, he just really unleashes mass arson across the island, sets the biggest fires ever, burns down every last bit of the rainforest to create massive false flag tyranny and fear, so that everyone is forced to hand over all of their earnings and their savings and their livelihoods, so that he, Rumsfeld, can save the people. Save them from what? Save them from the terrorism that he put in place. And the people agree. And they make him their king as they live in poverty. They worship him. And this is America. This is how America works today. People are worshiping the very corporate government fascists who are destroying them. They worship the very people who are feeding them the poisonous, toxic foods loaded with synthetic chemicals that cause cancer and diabetes and heart disease. They worship and support the very same government that's poisoning them with GMOs and glyphosate and these other chemicals in the foods, and that are force-feeding them toxic medicine under socialized medical systems while denying them access to holistic natural therapies that can prevent disease, like nutritional intervention, naturopathy, medicinal herbs, traditional Chinese medicine, all of these things. Well, they're almost illegal because you can't have access to those things. No, you need to stay part of the system where you're a victim, part of that medical system where you remain in a state of lifelong diabetes or cancer or heart disease with no cures because the government says so. You are living in this system today. Except it's bigger than one man. It's not called Rumsfeld. It's not even called Obama or Bush or anybody. It's the entire system of fascist domination and totalitarian society, where the corporations and the government gets together and they figure out how they can destroy as much as possible in order to control and confiscate as much as possible from you, the people. And as long as they can keep you in a state of fear because they caused the problems in the first place, they caused the cancers, it's their food that gives you diabetes, it's their synthetic chemical additives that gives you Alzheimer's or cancer or kidney disorders, it's their medicine that's loaded with mercury that causes immune system failures and autism. As long as they can keep you trapped in that cycle, they can keep total control in place over you and your children and your bank account and anything that you think you might want to own, like a home or a piece of land or a business. They own it. They control it. They can confiscate it at any time. They have all the power because they are the ones who claim they're saving everybody from all the things that they created to destroy you in the first place. You get it? This is how the system really works. So stop being suckered into this system. Open your eyes, see what's happening, get the real news, get the real information, become awake and aware, and stop participating in this system. Withdraw your consent, and you can escape being a prisoner. Hear more of my podcast at healthrangerreport.com or read my website at naturalnews.com. Take care.